Good afternoon, everyone. Researchers reconstructing solar cycles back to 969 AD, finding two unknown cosmic ray burst events, 1052 and 1279. Simplistic graph, cosmic rays hitting our atmosphere create carbon-14, datable. And speaking of dates, October 2024, the last time the planets were in this exact alignment, 79 AD, cosmic ray burst right there. They seem to be happening on intermittent 100-year intervals, 700, 800, 900 AD, 1000, 1100, and it just keeps going, although it's not exactly perfect at 1600. It's all about the increases noticeable, Carlos Ramirez. Annual averages, and even the highest cosmic ray density bursts that we know of are nothing in comparison to 5480 BC. That black line exceeds anything by orders of magnitude. Maybe the Great Reset's more than just about the economy, your way of life. Maybe it's a reset because the cosmic rays are due in 2024. Too much resetting to be a coincidence, all centered around these same years. The last time we had a Democrat-led Congress and president was during the first years of the Obama administration. Janet Yellen was the Fed chair then, and now soon to be the new Treasury Secretary under Biden. Obamacare was passed, President Obama and Congress sent billions to banks and Wall Street. That was the perfect recipe, and gold soared more than 200% from 2008 to 2011. Patriot Gold Group has the No Fee for Life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold and silver, and you may be eligible for the No Fee for Life IRA. So go ahead and give the folks at Patriot Gold Group a call to discuss physical gold and silver. And the knowledge that Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold IRA dealer 5 years in a row from 2016 until present. Click the link in the description box below for more information. And now on with the video. Had this featured article, researchers reconstruct 11-year solar cycles all the way back to the year 969. And what they found was cosmic ray outbursts, two unknown events at 1052 and 1279. Significant because they are associated with increased cloud cover, different conditions on the planet atmospherically, which would interfere with food production, and during these times you'll probably see a collapse of the Chinese dynasty's kingdoms across the planet, as well as change of rulership. Famines would be one of the things, and the resource pillaging is another. And it's a chain reaction when these cosmic rays slam into our atmosphere. They do create carbon-14, but at the same time, the ripping atoms off, causing isotopes. We've got the neutrons up there, and what not a lot of people are talking about is this collision in the skies creates an enormous amount of cloud. And this cloud layer is from 15,000 to 18,500 feet. And have you noticed a lot more rain on our planet lately? There seems to be a connection between increased cloud cover, increased rainfall, difference in temperatures, instability in grow and harvesting times, and collapses of societies during these high cosmic ray bombardment events. So we're going to come back here. This is years before present, going back to 1,000 years into the past on the left there. This includes all of the grand solar minimums, the Oort, the Wolf, the Sporer, the Maunder, and the Dalton minimums. Now you'll see in each of these different grand solar minimums, there's a cosmic ray peak. And this is where there's that connection of the fingerprints of the grand solar minimum with the cosmic ray bombardment and the changes in the atmosphere, cloud cover, etc. Population movement, people are going to go to new areas, but we've already seen the planet locked down. The economic disarray, as old economic systems cease to function because food prices are skyrocketing, people are not able to work it the way they used to, and we're seeing the exact same thing. Now, silver market being pinched, and the government turmoil happening across the planet. You're seeing the exact same things that have happened through these grand solar minimums. Now, is it the cosmic rays affecting the human psyche? Possibly. But something significant happens when we get these bursts. And then another way to look at it, the cosmic ray highs are above the top standard deviation significance level. And you can plot these out, and when you see them, At the highest intensities during those 200-year intervals, you'll start to see the spikes on the 400-year interval. That is absolutely the society reset button being pushed. Here we are coming into October of 2024, and you notice the four gas giants out there, the Jovians. They're making their planetary alignment that has not been seen in this exact configuration since 79 AD. And a lot of people have been asking me, well, what's significant happened in 79 AD? But we do have a cosmic ray spike going on at this time. But then putting this in context over the last 3,000 years, that era around the zero mark is not significant. Prior to that, at 400 BC, that's a massive event. 700 BC, that was more intense than the Maunder minimum. And as we do ascend from 500 AD, each successive cosmic ray spike seems to be getting higher. We had the drop-off after the Dalton minimum, so something significant out of the regular chain of events marching into this grand solar minimum. Follow the blue line. This is the measurement data, just in the averages. And you'll see this spike at 700. You'll see it again 800. You'll see it 900, although not as high. And right at the 1000 AD mark, you'll see another spike. And then right around 1100. So they were on about the 100-year significance, but you'll see which ones were more intense. 800 AD would have had a far more significant effect on society than, say, the 600 AD spike of cosmic rays. But the 700 AD outlier with one single deviation there of about a 2-year period or 1-year period has been well studied in different locations across the planet as well. From Japan, California, to Russia. And you'll see the trend was down and then suddenly there was a spike. And then it dropped off right away again. Now they were using the sequoia trees here from the same exact era from, like, say, 721 to 820, so that in 100-year time frame, and then they had the averages within that and then found out where these spikes were. See the same thing over in Japan and Siberia, New Zealand. So it seemed to be a global event, both northern and southern hemisphere, very short-lived. Then the researchers overlaid the 775 event with the 994 event, and you'll start to see very similar pattern leading up into, and that's what the whole video is about, the lead up into these large spikes in cosmic rays that had massive effects on society. I'm going to say it's all about the ability to grow food and keep your populace fed, because hungry people and emaciated people can't move cargo. They can't have an economy. That's why they move to different locations. No food, no society, period. High cosmic rays, more clouds. Moldy food, non-nutritious food. There's an equation there. And jumping back to these two unknown events at 1052 and 1279, well, the 1200s, you could have gone back and watched the collapse of the Yuan dynasty in China, so you could see there was a significant event in China that wiped out a dynasty. So they're not really unknown. And if we look at the reconstructions here, I circled in yellow the two spikes that we're talking about in the previous article of the unknowns. But what I did find going a little bit more granular into that 1050 event, it seemed to straggle over another decade or so with a couple more bumps in the highs there. So the specific year of 1052, it looks like there were three spikes. It might have been 1052, 1062, 1070, because you got those three bombardment spikes there. And then leading up into these other grand solar minimums, you start to see the ramp up right up into 1450, and then it declines. Then the ramp up into the Maunder minimum, official start date at 1640, and that's right when you see the cosmic rays increasing on the green. And then what do we see here on the longer chart? Far left, 1700, you're going to see really low sunspot numbers. 1800 to say 1820, incredibly low sunspot numbers, Dalton minimum. 1900, centennial minimum, incredibly low sunspot numbers. And then we come over into now, 2020. Where do you think we're going? And why are governments behaving so irrationally? We're going into another grand solar minimum. And this is the thing about it. Going into these grand solar minimums, it's always a society reset. And it's so interesting that it's in your face that they're saying reset this, reset that, when nature was going to reset it anyway. So you have to really ask yourself with the logical, common sense mind, if it was unsalvageable, movement forward, the economy that we have in the economic system, unsalvageable. Even if we were to try to hold it together and there still was more debt to issue to continue the way that things had run for the last 150 years, Nature would throw it to food would get so expensive that everything would be diverted into food and energy, and everything on the periphery would have collapsed anyway, just as it has every grand solar minimum through the past. Knowing that, people are going to move as they have every grand solar minimum in the past, but now we're much more mobile. Before you took an oxen cart and it took you months to go somewhere. Now we can drive on a tank of gas in a few hours or hop on an airplane and we can be across the planet in 24 hours. Unthinkable in prior grand solar minimums, but all these people moving, billions of people being able to move where they want to try to ride this out with lower food prices, warmer climates. That would upset the entire balance of what has already been set out for these food grow areas for certain peoples and certain demographics that are earmarked to receive the foods growing in these areas. And I'll leave it at that. They keep talking about the Great Reset, and look what's here. This grand solar minimum's intensifying. We got this 2024 planetary alignment we haven't seen since 79 AD. It's creating its own slight magnetic field out in the outer solar system. Then you got Mars and then Earth. It's just 2 planets away with the 4 gas giants. Then we got the sun going into a low activity state, and the Earth's going to be coupled right between those 2 magnetic fields. The reset's real. It's here. It's just being presented and boxed in a pretty package with a bow on top of it, because the truth is the food's about to get real expensive and not as available as it was. Look for rationing coming in the end of the year, 2021. They'll probably use apps on your phone with blockchain, ration cards, not the pieces of paper like World War II or different countries through the 1950s that your grandparents might have shown you a ration card from World War II. Same concept, immutable blockchain. You're going to have to understand what blockchain is, and at the same time, they're going to reset the currency, and you'll get to know all about what a central bank digital currency is, what a private wallet is, because that's where you're going to send your money so you can survive and you don't starve to death. And you won't go to the street because you'll have enough money to buy food at a very minimum amount. Rationing's inbound. The reset's here. So let's see what the big fish... Oh, wait a second. What do you think the silver squeeze is about? It's about to reset the entire financial system, and the little guys will be blamed. Because you have to ask if this is another wag the dog. The small investors bonding together. 8 million of them now going into silver contracts. April 15th call, $35. Are they going to cause a squeeze on the market? There's 200 contracts for paper for every 1 real ounce of silver. And if that'll be such a gargantuan meltdown, let's talk about other meltdowns. 5480 BC, add another 2,000 years to bring us up to this present time, and we're looking about 7,500 years ago. This event was so far above anything that we could even consider in the last 2,000 years, orders of magnitude above. That giant spike, the way it arrived, micronova, who knows what it would have been, but it would have reset the society. And you notice we don't have that much information going back to 7,500 years prior. It was a complete wipeout, literally a start over from probably 10 million humans on the earth or so after this event. We're coming into another cosmic ray era that's going to affect us. It already has begun to. So I'm looking for increases in cosmic rays to kind of back up this research on the trend into and when is this spike coming. We got 3 more years before I say 2024. We really start to get some runaway increases in cosmic energies coming in. And Carlos Ramirez doing incredible research as always. But what I like this time is showing us the years in progression of increases of cosmic rays. I put out the large chart. I enlarged the annual averages on the right there from 2015 to 20. Do you think there's been an increase? I see it almost doubling in that time. Now, 2021, where do we go from here? Now, looking at the chart, you might say, well, it could go either direction. It could level off, or it could decrease a little bit. But talking about this ionizing radiation, Carlos, thanks for putting this info out. This is one of the most telling points right here. The old 2017 record was broken 4 different times in December of 2020. With a massive peak of 405. That's 25% higher than the highest peak prior that was the record in 2017. Now, this is a single-day basis. It's not the average for the entire year. It's a single event. Nonetheless, it's a 25% increase over, and then when you're looking out, the full average, 108. And another great mind trying to put this information together, back to the great creator, Dr. Wahid Uddin. So I would encourage you to also try to understand just a little bit of this information so we can keep this moving through history here. The voices calling out, saying we got a huge problem, are becoming less and less by the day because it was the older generation that started this conversation, and it's up to us to continue it, which I try my very best to do on Mini Ice Age Conversations podcast YouTube channel. A little over 3,000 subscribers on there. I thank every single one of you. Started this channel just last month, but each episode is 30 minutes on the go of information, relevant guests to try to get a wider picture, connecting all the dots of our modern world and global powers trying to control the downslide into this grand solar minimum. And you can join me on Patreon /Adapt2030. It's time to grow your own food right now. Please buy seeds. Please learn how to grow anything. It's going to be so integral in your survival. You're really going to have to grow food. Spring is here. Make it year number 1 to learn how to do it if you don't already have the skill. And if you do have the skill, share with others to help them learn how to grow. I do hope you got something out of the video, and I'll see you next time.